to prep our block for printing, we're going to first stain it red. Before we do that, you might notice that your linoleum block has these little kind of frayed edges from the back of it, and these can get ink on them when we go to print, so I like to try to remove those right from the beginning. You can remove them by taking a pair of scissors and just kind of carefully cutting along the edge. Try not to chew into the material there. You can also use an X-Acto blade. So you can take an X-Acto blade and then very carefully just kind of run along the edge and try to remove those little fuzzies that are hanging there. So either way, I try to remove as much of that as I can. And then once you do, you can stain your block. Just make sure I got all those little fuzzies off of it, and it's pretty clean. Sometimes you'll see these little things kind of stuck to it. It's like a little bit of linoleum. So I try to pick those off first so that they don't show up in our prints at all. Mine has a little bit of Sharpie staining on it, but that'll get covered up by the stain. So I'm just going to use that red water-soluble ink that came with our kit to stain it. You can also use pretty much any kind of acrylic paint for doing it, and I like to use the red color. Again, just staining the surface of it. We're not trying to paint it, so I'm just buffing a little bit of the ink into the surface, and then I want to try and remove as much of it as I can so I don't end up with streaks all over. So less than a toothpaste size amount. You can always add more if you need to. And I'm just going to take that and circular motions all over the block. Even that amount that I used was pretty thick and probably more than I needed. So just kind of try to quickly buff over the whole surface of your block and then flip it around to a clean side and then remove as much of that ink as you can while still kind of trying to hit all the areas on your block. So I'm putting such a thin amount down that I'm not even getting all the way to these edges, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. But you'll notice that those Sharpie markers that I had on my block, you can still see them because it's such a thin amount of ink on the surface of it. So once you get the whole surface buffed, then let it dry, probably 10 or 15 minutes before you start drawing on it.